Red and Ted's Road Show from 1994. And Red and Ted's Road Show had 6,000 odd made.
Sounds about right.
Is this a game that was big in Australia? Like Fishtails, you mentioned, had, you know, many, hundreds of them in Australia?
Unfortunately, we were coming towards the end of the big pinball wave that went through the early 90s, and this didn't get a lot of love, although I think it's actually a pretty good machine.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent machine. I do have family members, friends who come around who don't like the machine. They don't like the machine because the heads scare them. The heads don't scare me. I think they're fantastic, and of course they were the what's the word? There was a predecessor to these.
Funhouse.
Of course, Funhouse, and I think they're great. They do have played an integral part in the game, and they're fantastic. This is a game that has 2 shooter rods, something a little different, and it's a wide body machine.
That's true, it is.
Yeah. Well, what do you know about this machine, Rod?
The first thing that I remember from this game when I bought it new was after about 6 months, the apron started to bubble and started to lift off, and I've come across a lot of road shows. I don't know whether they neglected something in the process. More than likely, if it hasn't been redone, I can notice this one's had stickers reapplied.
That's right, this has been redone.
So if you've got one that hasn't got that, you're probably likely to find that that's all rusted through. Once again, I'm not sure whether they neglected something in the process, but that's something that you'll have to consider. The 2 heads, the blinking of the eyes, there is a setting in some of the latest revision of the software where you can limit the blinking or turn it off. You can have a problem where it either looks like he's half asleep or he's really excited. So the problem comes about from they pull the eyelids up and down from one end. So what happens is it breaks at one end,
But there are 3 positions, are there not? Closed, almost open.
You've got a left and right,
and
left and
centre,
well. And then you've got an open, and you've got a
completely open,
and then a closed.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that the eyelids are not expensive, $15, $20, but
the price is not the problem.
It's getting in there to change it. There's also some linkages that operate the blinking and the turning left and right, and they can break because they're quite small. Not a huge thing in as far as cost, as you said, but fiddly to get to. Yeah. This one also has a particular post, and it's right over in the blast zone. And if you look, you can see it from where we are, it's very close to the edge of the hole. And what can happen sometime with a game that's been played a lot is that'll just break right off. It'll just take the playfield part with it. So you need to get some builder's bog or some sort of filler and reapply that to get that working again.
There's also often a lot of wear around this scoop here.
Yeah. We've talked before about if the weldments break, instead of the ball coming smoothly, it'll bounce or it'll be in some sort of improper line. This also has a shaker motor from the factory, and that can shake a lot of screws and nuts.
Right. It's a really good shaker in this game.
Yeah. In the latest revision of the software, you've got, I think, 2 or 3 different strengths of that. I think it's got soft or hard or moderate, something like that. It is a good effect. I remember having one in a place, and it was on a wooden floor upstairs, and they thought that there was thunder outside because they could hear this rumbling. So that's something to consider as well, the shaker motor. Apart from that, there can be some fiddly parts where the ball goes into Ted's mouth and it comes across and comes out up here where Bob's bunker is. There's a few switches, and I've noticed that they can get out of adjustment, and it can do weird things when you're going into multi-ball. One I worked on, it would never go to multi-ball because one of the switches wasn't working properly. And speaking of screws, I can actually see a screw just sitting there on the playfield.
And in the next video, we'll be repairing a Red and Ted's Road Show. I'm also noticing that one of my pop bumper lights is out too.
Yeah. I would think the shaker has
probably
shaken
dislodged it.
I have seen some of these. It's got the inserts here on the main part here, the little tiny inserts, almost like slithers. I've seen some of them lift.
Oh.
I don't really know. I don't think it's to do with the way they were put in. I think it's because they're general illumination lights and they're always on.
I see.
Whereas most inserts, as you can see, are flashing. Those
Right.
ones are just on, so it could be the heat that's actually making them
Right.
lift up.
Well, another reason to go to LED then.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And this is an unusual game because it actually has 3 left flippers.
Indeed it does. You're right. It's a 4 flipper game with 3 left flippers
Yeah.
and 1 right flipper. Yeah, you're right.
So I don't know of many games that have got that configuration.
So let me ask a question. This has been a wide body. Is this space here completely wasted? This
Well-
second shooter doesn't do terribly much.
No, it doesn't. I think some of the wide body machines suffered from slow play because the ball would take that much longer to move around. And I think with games like Demolition Man and this one, they tried to sort of narrow it in. Star Trek Next Generation 2 to bring it back in and have extra features that weren't actually
Slowing the game down.
Yeah. I think that was part of the thinking.
Yeah, right. Gotcha. Now, you've mentioned the mouth, the dozer issues can happen around the back here. Is there anything that commonly breaks apart from this post
Of course,
here?
your slingshot plastics. I have
Slingshots
seen
break,
a couple where the return lane plastics have broken.
off. Okay. Okay.
It's not that much of a... I did work on once where the bulldozer, it almost looked like it had been in a position where it was in the sun and it had warped, and I couldn't get it to sit flush on the playfield.
Wow.
But I think that was more due to the sun warping it more than anything
Okay.
else. And you will come across some, if they've been played a lot, where both Red's face and Ted's face is quite dirty.
Uh-huh.
And I think some of them, her lipstick has just come completely off. But apart from that, it's not, because it's a wider body machine, there is more area to spread the ball around.
Gotcha. This is probably the only game that I have in my collection that still just has an original DMD, an orange one. I did that because I don't know, of all the pins, I didn't see this one desperately needing a colour display. I mean, I'm sure a colour display will look better, but I just think orange actually blends in with the game.
Yeah.
If you were to colour coordination.
You put some decorative features.
Yes, a couple of decorative features on top. This was a $700 topper. No, it's not. $30 topper from Kmart. And yeah, look, I'm sure there's more fancy toppers out there. But I've seen a lot of people pick up these plastics here and turn them into a makeshift topper. Does the job. Toppers, love them, I hate them, right? Everyone's got an opinion. But,
I think that actually comes in the plastic set when you buy it. I think.
Gotcha. That makes sense, yeah. All right, well, Rod, let me ask you the all-important question then. How would you rate this game out of 10?
I would probably say 8.
8? Okay. I'd be on par with you. Definitely an 8. Definitely an 8. I do enjoy this game. I love having it in my collection and love playing it. So if I walk into my games room and I just want to play a game and have a bit of fun, I tend to go towards Roadshow or Creature from the Back Lagoon. Those are my 2 go-to games. This has that generic theme again, a construction theme that I like, as we said, fishtails and whitewater. And I do love that. I do love that about that era of games where it's just great. It's just I mean, who would have thought a construction theme with country music in multi-ball would be interesting? But it really is. I find myself listening to the Carlene Carter song and quite enjoying it, even though I'm not much of a fan of it.
It wasn't a big hit here, that song, but it was in certain parts of Europe, I think,
Gotcha.
and in the US.
Gotcha.
You also painted the
I did a little. Look, I did a tiny bit. I've seen some really nice painted up radios. I've done a tiny bit of work to mine, but I don't know. One day I'm not very skilled in that, so I did the bare minimum and kind of walked away. Yeah.
Because originally that's just all orange.
Actually, I do. Well, I do have another one. I think that I painted once. Oh, maybe I don't have it anymore. No, forget it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I have got one. Here's one that was actually painted up, but I wasn't very happy with it. Right. And so I moved back to the red one.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool. All right. Well, while we're here, we might have a quick spin on it, eh?
Okay.
Cool.
Junk.